Welcome again. This is our show for April. It's always good to be back on the show. Welcome, Livia. I love it when I
Hi.
get together and just have some fun for the next 45 to 50 minutes. And today we have a very, very special guest. Ren, who is normally here, she's still working on some projects that she's trying to get finished. Hopefully, we'll have her back in the near future. But I understand how it is.
Absolutely. I miss our co-host. Okay. I
Yeah,
miss her
yeah,
positive energy, her vibes
yes,
that she brings, definitely.
yes. And so today we wanted to bring you something a little different, and we have a very special guest who will also be our co-host for the evening. Her name is LaShawn Walker. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about LaShawn Walker before we actually bring her on to introduce her to you. LaShawn is a native New Yorker. She grew up in a melting pot of diversity, surrounded by individuals from all walks of life to form a kaleidoscope of friends throughout the world. Always known for her smile, LaShawn believes that a positive attitude can overcome almost any challenge. That's leading with a smile and a kind word. You'll receive that same kind of more, if not that energy in return. To spread this energy to the world, LaShawn founded a show. It is beautiful. It's called You're Our Unity, a socially conscious outreach network to focus on radiating greater positivity, hope, compassion, empathy, and love to everyone she encounters. The mission is to cultivate a spirit of peace in the world by encouraging the need to reawaken and redefine the love within oneself. The network of partners with various, she networked with partners with various organizations to provide programs, services, and resources necessary to uncovering the best you. She hosts You Are Our Unity show, which has given her a platform to celebrate our differences and expose our commonalities by sharing inspiring stories from diverse voices who are committed to being the change the world needs. LaShawn, so guided and provided for by God. She is blessed with the gift of bringing hope and healing to people. As a certified life coach, master motivator, and voice of victory, LaShawn's coaching practice, Defining You, encourages everyone to love and own who you are. Dare to be you. Be your best. Give your best and expect the best daily. She's a community services chair at Hempstead Lion Club. She's a prayer pioneer and spiritual life coach. Restored Life Group is the name of it. The motivational speaker and workshop facilitator for Community Health and Healing Center. She's a member of the Diversity and Inclusivity Committee, the Hans Foundation, and she's a member and winner of the Community Advocate Award, Sweet Mothers Incorporated. We are very proud to present LaShawn Walker. Please, everyone, welcome our special guest.
Yay.
How
Thanks for
are you?
joining us. Oh my gosh.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
collaborating with us, LaShawn. This is not, thanks for including us in all of those plethora of other things that you're doing. Okay.
thank
Community
you
member,
so
prayer warrior.
aw.
It's phenomenal to have you here with us. So thank you so much for being here. Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me. I appreciate you guys so much for including me in this conversation. I first want to begin, Yvonne. Oh my God, I love the intro. It is so nice. The beat had me jamming, and then seeing the pictures of you wonderful, beautiful women. It took me back to Africa, girl. I want to celebrate who I am, what I am, and why I'm here. So I appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for having me.
Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you.
awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
And just be assured, we're also jamming in the green room, okay? Every time the music comes on, we're both in the back just jamming out, okay? And thanks to, of course, our engineer. We don't get to see him, but it's all thanks to him because he gets it all together for us. Not just the music, but he's the photographer, the
Yes.
musician,
Yes.
and they're behind the operation. So thanks, Ish. We really appreciate you.
Yes, Ish. Thank you.
Yes. Well, we have a very special show, but before we go on, we want to give some shout outs to people who are reaching their milestones, or you don't have to be 60. You could be 30, 40, 50, whatever age, 70, 80, 90. If you are having a birthday, if you're reaching a milestone, we just want to say happy birthday. We also want to say happy birthday to Byron. He has his
Yay!
birthday. Olivia can tell us a little bit about Byron, but his birthday. I'm not sure what day is it, but this
It
is the
was on the 14th, which was Friday. So this was a birthday weekend. Hence, my voice is a little coarse because we've been doing a lot of celebrating all
That's
weekend long.
awesome. That's awesome. And if
Who's
there's anybody,
Byron?
He's my husband.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Byron, your husband. That's wonderful. God bless him.
that's awesome. If there's anybody in the audience who is celebrating a milestone or who knows anyone who's celebrating a milestone, please feel free to put it in the chat. We're going to start out our topic. The first one is checking in with your time's life. We all know that since the beginning of our birth, the first night, well, being conceived, you have 9 months and then you're born. And then you have your first 10 years, your first 20 years, your first 30, 30 years, and it goes on and so forth. But there are people in the world that are living past 70, 80, 90, and even past 100 years. Our centenarians, we're going to talk a little bit about them later. But right now, what I wanted to do is check in on you. How are you doing? Where are you in your life right now? Do you know since the beginning of your time, I'm just breaking it down in hours. There are, well, we know 24 hours in a day, but there's 168 hours in a week, 730 hours in a month, 8,760 hours in a calendar year. And by the time you reach 60 years old, it's 525,600 hours that you've spent here on earth. And for those who want to live another 10, 20, 30, 40 years, hopefully up until 100, think about the time, the hours, the moments that you will be spending, and what will you be doing with that time? Is your time spent here?
It looks like she got frozen. So I'm going
Frozen.
to just jump in and tell you
Yes.
that when we're looking at our years in those grand numbers, we want to make sure that we're really utilizing our years to our best benefit. We want to live our best life, but we also want to live our best healthy life. And some of the things that we're going to talk about is what gives you longevity. And once you have that longevity, how do you live that life worth talking about? Where you can actually be really involved, engaged. And I can say, for starters, is that I come from a family of longevity. For those who have been listening to the show, hey, Carmen, thanks for joining us. My mother died at age 96.
Wow.
And fortunate for me, my father now lives with me part time. And my father is getting ready to turn 90 in a couple of months.
Oh my
And we can talk, yes, we can talk about what longevity looks like. So, as we were doing research for today's show, and we were talking about the blue zone, which we're going to get into in just a few moments, is I really want to tell you that longevity really looks good if you're healthy
Yes.
because we want to be here, but we want to be active. We want to be engaged. We want to be involved. So there's a couple of things that we have to do in order to enjoy that type of a lifestyle. We think that drinking and smoking and hanging out and going to bed late, and that is not the things. Those are not the things that cause longevity in our lives. As
Not
a
at
matter of
all.
fact, as we were doing research,
Mhm.
I came to the realization that there are a couple of things that I need to really cut out of my life. And I don't want to say it in a negative form. everything in moderation, right?
Mhm.
Because one of the things that my father has always said, my mother was a diabetic. She died a year and a half ago. My father always said that if you deprive a person of something, that takes years off their life.
Right.
So you really want to do things in moderation so that you can continue doing it in moderation, right? So
No,
that's what
you're
we're going to
absolutely right.
talk about today. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about what does longevity look like? And I'm going to actually just jump right in. And one of the things that I did a lot of research on is there's something called the blue zone. And the blue zone, what it does is we're talking about areas where folks are living past 90, but they're not just surviving past 90, they're literally living life like we are. They're going out every day, they're swimming, they're walking. They even we there's even this gentleman, he's over 100 and he's still climbing trees. Please
Yeah.
explain that to me. Okay. I'm so fearful. I don't even want to get on a horse anymore for fear that I can fall off. Okay. I want to walk sure-footed, flat-footed. Here it is. He is really living his life and he is climbing trees. So really what he's doing, he's continuing to do those things that he's always done. So
Yes.
a person such as myself could not start climbing trees at that age. But if you've been doing it continuously, then you're
Hmm.
in that you're able to continue doing what you've done in the past. You may scale back a certain amount, but nevertheless, you're still able to do the same things. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
want to I'm going to go ahead and ask you a couple of questions, LaShawn.
Of course.
First of I want to tell you that I love the fact that you are working on your life coaching and that you're still defining your what is it called? Defining yourself.
Defining you. Defining you.
Defining. So
Hmm.
tell me how that came about. Tell me how that came about.
Well, just my journey, really. Speaking of longevity, it's funny that this is the conversation because, though I feel I am trying to live that life too that will afford me that longevity. There was a time that I didn't think it was possible. Unfortunately, surrounded myself with a bunch of friends and people that I loved on for so long. And then at 43, 44, all of these people started to die for just no reason. So I'm losing my friends from heart attacks, from pulmonary embolisms, from diabetic comas, from all of these things that if had we taken care of our bodies better sooner, they would have still been here. So at 44, 45 years old, I'm literally scared that I'm not going to reach this beautiful ripe old age of 84 like my grandmother made it to. I was afraid that because of the choices and the lifestyle that maybe I was leading as well was going to cut off that time. So what led me to defining you was me going through years of depression, dealing with the deaths of all of my friends and family members that were leaving me too soon, and me trying to figure out why I was still here and asking God, like, what
Mm,
is my purpose? Like, what is my reason for still being here when I honestly was sleeping all day and wasn't showing up to my day like everyone else wasn't trying to live the best life that I could at that time. I was just existing. And once I woke up from that in 2016, I got on my knees to God. Actually, I was on a camel in Dubai, girl, looking in the sky, screaming to the Lord in the darkness, to give me, a sign, letting me know that my purpose and my gift and my reason for being here has yet to be defined and that
mm,
I need to figure it out. So I came back to New York and then I just went on this self-discovery sort of path and I haven't stopped yet. And what I love about it is that I learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about people and why God put us here and what he wants out of us. And I learned how to find inner peace. And once I found that, I just knew it was time for me to share it with everyone else. We are
mhm,
all put here for a reason. We all have gifts. We are all supposed to be happy. We are all supposed to be whole. We are all supposed to have love in our heart all the time. And we are all supposed to live these long, long lives. And I just wanted to make sure that I put towards the effort, and not only myself, but also with others, to let them know that they were made for so much more. And
Yeah.
if we just took the time to define ourselves, we would find ourselves.
Wow.
Awesome.
That is powerful.
Yeah. Yes. It was definitely a chore, but I'm so glad that I did it. And I know that everyone out there can as well. I mean, again, longevity, we all have it. Like you said earlier, Olivia, it's about the choices that we make, living healthy, and not just by what we put into our bodies, but also how we're moving throughout the day, and what we're doing with that time, with our health throughout the day,
Exactly.
putting in that exercise, and not only for our bodies, but also our minds. All of
Yes.
that has to do with us lengthening and prolonging our life here on earth. So
Wow.
We're definitely going to talk a little bit further on that, but thanks for sharing. And as you can see, our listening audience is in agreement that, sometimes you could really slip into that depression, and it takes something to turn the corner and to propel you forward. So thanks for being a life coach and making your services available, and just being so honest and sharing your story, because when someone hears that they're not alone, that others have gone through it and have gone to the other side, it really propels them to continue forward. So that's a really important factor as well. So thanks.
thank
Umi,
you.
I'm going to go ahead and Yvonne, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you and let you pick up.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. Thank you, Carmen, for chiming in. Feel free to drop any comments, in the chat and in the queue. If you have any questions, also feel free. I mean, I think we're all at a point in our lives where we are continuing to grow. We're still trying to, define our inner being and ourselves so that we can continue to develop. Because even though we're at our ages, and we've reached certain points in our lives, education wise, job wise, and all of that, you still continue to grow and seek happiness, to seek the things that make you feel that you're fulfilled in your life and the things that you're doing. And what's important is understanding that you're not alone. There are so many people out there in the world, millions of people in the world, and you can imagine where people are. And sometimes we don't take that time to take stock of, hey, I've lived X amount of years. It could be 30 years, it could be 40 years, it could be 25. Wherever you are in your day and time, there's a reference point for when you start to say where I am. Take stock, what you say, self inventory, like at the time of, like I said, a person may be 60 years and they may reach as far as the hours that they spend. How do you spend your time? What do you do? Is it productive? Are you caught in a brain fog, a life fog that you cannot see yourself out of? And it's a lot of people that are like that. But the thing is, sometimes they may not know where to turn. They may not know where to go. And that's what this show is about. That's what your show is about, LaShawn. That's what we do. We reach out. Olivia was a coach. Like I said, when I first met her, she was my coach. I was at a point in my life where I wanted to do a business. I wanted to do something, and I didn't know how to go about it. You're starting life over again, and you're trying to fulfill some of the dreams that you want. She was there to help me through it, to help me build something that was in my head to pull it out. And so from there, we've been working together. Like I say, and I'm always grateful for it, because time can pass, and I'll get a bright idea, and it could be a year or two, and I could say, Olivia, and she shows up as if no time has passed, and we just continue.
Absolutely.
We continue to help each other in our endeavors, and yeah, that's important. And LaShawn, I'm very grateful for you, because you invited me to your show once, a few times. And it was amazing, because that was the continuation of my journey. That's the very first time I had been outside of what I was doing on someone else's show. And it was a pleasure, to be able to sit. Hi, Lanye. I'm saying it correctly. Thank you for chiming in. And so tonight, like, we're just talking about longevity. We're talking about what it takes to prolong your life, and health is at the helm of it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
What are you doing to take care of you? And it's not just your physical health, your mental health,
Yeah.
your emotional health.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Because that's one of the key things that will project you, or like Olivia said, propel you into a lifelong, peace to you as well, Carmen, and to, a lifelong of fulfillment. That's what's important.
Right.
And
So if I
so,
could just jump in really quick and
yes,
tell
please.
you, as I was doing some research on the blue zone, so there's a few different parts of the world where we have people who are living past 100. And I
Mhm.
want to kind of zone in a little bit on some of these areas and tell you a little bit of what I recently learned. I'll start off by stating that there's like four different areas that I'm looking at specifically. And then I'm going to have you, Yvonne, tell us a little bit about the fifth place, which somehow was conveniently absent. I'm not quite sure why, but it's great to do research. The more you learn, the more you dig, right? So, one of the areas, and the reason they call it the blue zone is because people are really living with longevity. So, I want
Mhm.
to talk about an area called Ikaria in Greece. It's one of the Asian islands. So people over there are living up to 8 years longer than the average American. So I started to look to see why is that. So here's some interesting facts about folks in that particular region. And again, it's called Ikaria, Greece, and it's one of the Aegean islands. So they're living 8 years longer than the typical or average American. Half of them never have a heart attack.
Wow.
Mm,
Almost no dementia exists in that area.
Wow.
So I hear those facts and I'm thinking, how many of us know people who have had a heart attack? How many of us know people who have dementia?
Mhm.
And then we want to break it down. LaShawn, you mentioned that you went through a period where you lost people to diabetic complications, to
Mhm.
heart failure.
Yeah.
So, what age range are we talking about here? I know I can definitely raise my hand for people who have lost their lives due to heart failure. So I want to give you guys some facts because when we hear the statistics, it really could change our lives. Though when
Mhm.
sometimes when you hear that number, it makes you say, you know what, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make a little change, and I'm not looking for. I'm not asking anyone. I'm not suggesting that anyone has to do anything radical. But sometimes those very small changes can be really um, I'm going to say very helpful to your life to give you that longevity that we're looking for. So listen to these statistics. From 2020, um, 697,000 people in America died from heart attacks.
mm.
That's
Wow.
in 2020. That's one of five people that we might know.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a frightening statistic. So there are four of us talking to one another, the three of us plus our engineer. So if there was a fifth person, there's a possibility that one out of the five would could possibly die of a heart attack.
And
So
you're
we
so
want
right about that. My father, at 56 years old, out of died of a heart attack. 56
Wow.
years old. Yeah. So those statistics are so real. I'm so sorry to
so
interrupt. Go ahead, Olivia.
No, no,
oh
no.
no, here's another one. In
Yeah.
two This is a statistic from 2018. 14 million men in America have heart disease. They haven't died from heart attack, but they have heart disease. So we have to do something. We have to
Yeah.
address that as a nation.
Yes.
13 million women in North America have heart disease. 10 million are between the ages of 45 and 64. 6 million are between the ages of 65 and 74,
Wow.
and 6 million that are over the age of 75. So the good news is that only 4 million, and I say it only 4 million, but comparison to the 10 million are between the ages of 18 and 44. But we really need to take a look at not just our diet, because
Mm-hmm.
as I look at these areas that are considered the blue zone, where folks are living past 100, I found some commonalities. So let me talk about another area. Oh, here's something that was really surprising to me as I was doing my research. Poor people, 4 million of them are were in the lower number. Because you're poor did not automatically put you at risk of a heart attack, which is so unusual because it's normally poverty, people of
Mm-hmm.
color, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people of any color um, are at higher risks. In this case, 25 million white Americans are at a higher risk of heart failure than a poor
Wow.
person or a person of color. So that's just
Wow.
something that was very surprising to me. I was surprised to hear that particular statistic. But here's some other areas. There's an area called Loma Linda in California, right? It's in Southern California. So here's a great statistic. They are living 10 years longer than the average American. They are a 7-day Adventist community. They don't drink, they don't smoke, and a good portion of them are vegetarians. What do
Wow.
you say? We need
Wow. So it sounds like it has
to
a lot to,
reduce some of our risky activity, right?
yeah. It sounds like it has a lot to do with what we eat and what we believe and what we think that is helping a lot of people live longer. In Greece, I would think it's their diet as well. Did they mention
Mhm.
anything about that, Olivia? Like the foods and the
They
nutrients?
sure did. They talked
Okay.
about their vegetarianism. And
Mm-hmm.
listen to these two. In Sardinia, in Italy, which is one of the Mediterranean islands,
Yeah.
they have the most number. So males are really living long over the age of 100 in
Wow.
Sardinia, Greece. But listen to this. They are isolated. They're still doing things where they are hunting for their food. They're fishing
Yeah.
for food, and they're harvesting their own meals.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Here's my last two really quick. In Okinawa, Japan, which
Mhm.
is one of the South Pacific islands, they had the longest living woman lived over there in Okinawa, Japan. But listen to what they do. They live by purpose. They spend an enormous amount of time with friends
Yeah.
and family
Yeah.
because their social network is urgent to them. And the same
Mhm.
thing goes to another area called Nicoya in Costa Rica. And they have a saying over there. They're 2 times as likely to reach the age of 90 in that particular region. But they have a saying, it's called plan de vida. It means plan to live.
Yeah.
So they're
Mhm.
eating well. And something I noticed about these five areas that we talked about, everyone is near water.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I'm thinking I need to really retire near some water. Okay, I need some longevity. And they talked about dementia and there being a reduction in dementia for those in Greece. And we want to take a look at what we're doing incorrectly and really fix that. So we might want to study some of those regions and see what
Mhm.
they all have in common, and maybe we can try, duplicating it, replicating it in our own lives.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
Sorry, I took a lot of time, but I like statistics, so I wanted to numbers with you guys. Yeah.
no.
That's
So
awesome.
Yvonne, I'll throw it back to you. Sorry.
Yes, and I'm going to throw it to LaShawn a little bit. I know a lot of when you're talking with people and you're coaching with people and you're listening to the things that they are talking about and some of the, how do you relate in terms of longevity and your experience to help them?
Really, it's first of all, first, I want them to own the fact that they desire that.
Hmm.
Mm, yes. Once a person
Hello?
expresses,
Yeah, can
once
you
a
hear
person,
me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Once you admit or you own the fact that you want that, because not a lot of people care about living a long life. They just want to live, they just want to exist. It's not about how long, you know.
Mhm.
But once you realize that you do want to live this happy long life, then you start putting in the work to do that. And how I kind of incorporate that in my life coaching is by sharing with them the beautiful things that they need to kind of instill in their lives to have inner peace, so that that long life, that longevity will exist. And
Mhm.
that is taking care of yourself. That is meditation. That is journaling. That is, taking time with nature, going outside and spending time in the sun, and actually having conversations with God. And if you're not, a spiritual, a religious person or a spiritual person,
Mhm.
speak to the universe. Just,
Mhm.
at least get whatever stresses you have in your heart or on your mind, get them out. Become one with your surroundings. I'm very, very passionate about finding your purpose, finding out why you're here, why you exist in the first place. Because I think that once you find out why you're here and your purpose, that you're gonna want to live a very long time, so that you can
Yes.
share that with the world. So it is about giving them those steps to kind of uncover those things inside of them. I'm also a big proponent of taking time to chill, relax, self-love
Right.
and self-care. It
Mhm.
really is about pouring into yourself and giving yourself that nourishment and that love that you need to be to others, first to yourself, but then that you can share it with others. Also, I'm big on sleep. I think we need a lot of rest. And I tell
Really?
people
Yes.
to really take the opportunity. I was a child who literally slept probably 12, 13, 14 hours. My grandmother used to say to my father and my mother, she's sleeping her life away. She needs to be doing something. She needs to be up. And let me tell you something. I got great skin and a rested body because of 12, 13 hours of sleep as a child. Because once I became an adult, it was nothing but frantic and frenzy to get
Right.
everything done, to get everything accomplished. You have to go to work. Once I became a mom, I got to worry about my daughter. I got to worry about my husband. I got all these responsibilities. So you no longer have that peace that you thought you had. So therefore, yeah, I am big on rest. Get as much sleep as possible, so that you can be fresh, so that you can be renewed, so you could be rejuvenated, so that you don't put so much wear and tear on your body, because that also causes, your life to end a lot sooner, for you to have problems with illnesses and health issues and things like that. Once you don't give your body the kind of recuperation and the energy that it needs and the love that it needs, it starts to break down on you. And it shows up in those illnesses. It shows up in so many different ways, in mental health issues. It shows up with lack of energy. It shows up in bad attitudes. It shows up with just your whole mood and your whole mindset. So I think that if you gave yourself that grace, if you gave yourself that love and that nourishment, and I share that with all of my clients, that I really feel that you are going to be destined to have a long life. And not necessarily a centenarian. You might not live to over 100. I mean, some people don't even want to live that long in the world that we live in right now. But the fact is, at least that you're putting the best foot forward, so that you can live how can I say, not necessarily, sick free or illness free life, but at least you'll live a healthy mind, body, and spirit. And I think that is really, really important. You put in
Yeah.
the work, use the tools that you have at your disposal, and I think that we all could live very long, healthy lives. I really, really do. We're no longer in the times of the 50s and 60s. We didn't have medication for everything, and we didn't have the knowledge that we have now. We
Exactly.
have information at our fingertips. We also don't even have to be on half of the medications that they prescribe, because we know now a more natural and holistic way of healing ourselves.
Mhm.
So those things, I think, compounded with, a faith system, a belief in God or something bigger than ourselves,
Mhm.
and us actually taking care of ourselves outside of our normal task on a daily basis, that we can be really long living people. I really do.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's interesting that you say that because as far as the different medications and treatments and things that are out there, I had the opportunity to um, listen to a podcast, and it was a gentleman. He's a doctor by the name of Bobby Price,
Hmm.
and that's what got me interested in the blue zones to start looking into it, because he talked about him working as a doctor, for years, and treating people, which is what they're actually taught to do. But the healing process is slightly different than the treating.
Hmm.
So you want to heal your body, not just treat it,
Right.
because with that you also have side effects and different things like that. However, um not to say, hey, don't take medications or anything like that. No, what it is to find the natural components
Right.
that can help you build your body as it starts to
Yeah.
break down. So as he spoke, he talked about these people. He stopped his practice. Um, he went to Okinawa, I think it was, in Japan, and he stayed there for about 4 years studying these people. He said there were men there at 95 and 98, close to 100, still climbing trees,
Wow.
still working out, still just doing things that sometimes people, that you may know that is that age are not
Hmm.
able to do,
Right.
just life or whatever the case may be. But they were still at a had a youthful nature about themselves at 95. And
Hmm.
so based on their diet, he learned about the herbs and the type of food that they eat, and just their overall community and how
Hmm.
they lived. And then not only did he go there, he also went to Africa. It was a country in Africa where he had gone, and he studied the herbs there. And so what people actually used to heal themselves.
Hmm.
And so when you have that all of that under your belt, then you come back, to America. You want to share everything that you've learned. And
Hmm.
so that's what he did. And once I saw the podcast, I was like, that's the second time I heard about this blue zone and the people who live to be centenarians. And there are also people who are called super centenarians, and they're in these various parts of the world.
Hmm.
But they're here too. I had a friend who recently, his father, their father died. He was 102.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
102. He lived in Florida. And so we have them also here in America. A friend of mine that I work with, her mom and her husband's mom died at the age of 96, and her sister was still living at 97. So there are people that have this longevity in life, and it's about how you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's about that. And so that's important. So I said, let me share this. We're going to continue to look into it. It was a gentleman who took a whole crew of people over into Okinawa and studied it. But not only that, they developed what they're doing there, brought it back here, and say, hey, this blue zone could also exist here. It doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily have to be there. It's a lifestyle. And so
Yes.
if you go on Amazon, you'll see a lot of books that talks about the blue zone. You'll also see a lot of books, but the blue zone not just consist of where they are,
Mhm.
it's how you can introduce it into the community. It's the diet that's there. It's a blue zone diet. It's, your lifestyle, it's exercise. And so it's so many different things that composed, that are components of this particular lifestyle for longevity.
Behavior, attitude, and environment. That's
Yes.
basically what it is. It's the behavior, your behavior and how you treat yourself and your body, your attitude, how you live your life. You positive, just be positive, have compassion, fill yourself with love. I think your attitude towards life and people and things and all of that matters. And then the people, like you said, the community, sharing in community with people who are like-minded, people who are just
Mhm.
as positive, people who are just as happy and committed to thriving and not just living. I
Mhm.
really think that those also plays a big part in, how we live these long, long lives.
Yes, important.
Yeah.
It's important. And
Very
so,
important.
yeah. Um, just reviewing some of the ideas as far as, you know, habits that these people that are living into well into their 90s and even hundreds. One of the things that they have is avoid overeating. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, a lot
I
of
think you're supposed to feel 80% full or something and 20% hungry. Yeah, I think I
yeah,
read that somewhere, Vaughn.
yeah, a lot
I
of
want
times
to feel 100% full.
All the time, right?
when you think about the diet here and then the diet
Mhm.
abroad in a lot of these, countries, there are things that are allowed in, some of the foods that we eat that may be banned in other countries,
Yeah.
and so catching it at the root of it and understanding what diet is and how you should eat, and what you should eat is important. And that's something that you have to instill when you're young. To me, it's like, don't wait until we get to the age of, our 40s and 50s and 60s, even though no time is a bad time to learn. If you instill those things, or if they are instilled in you as a young age, I always say how you take care of your body as a teen will determine your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, so on and so forth. So it's important to teach our children the importance, teach them the value of eating correctly. And in this way, you take care of your body now, it'll work for you later in life. Even though they cannot even see that far, it is the truth.
True. LaShawn mentioned it. She said she got, 12 to 14 hours of rest when she was a
Yes.
child.
Yes, I
And
did. It
and it makes a
works.
significant difference. Absolutely. It's the total number of
And
rest
I'm
you
going to
get.
tell you, honestly, not to interrupt you, Olivia, but I really do feel that. I think me taking advantage of that as a child, thank God I'm not on any medication. I'm 53 years old. And I can tell you at least 95% of my friends are on some kind of medication at 50 years old,
Mhm.
whether it's, a diabetic, insulin, or high blood pressure. So I really feel 12, 13 hours that I was sleeping when I was a kid, really I really feel that it helped me. I'm not stressed. I don't let anything bother me. I'm a very positive person. I try to
Mhm.
surround myself with people who are just full of love and compassion. And also,
Mm.
I love to be around people who are just happy, even if they're really not. They just look like they're happy. I love being around these types of people. And I really think that that makes a big difference. I really, really do. Attitude matters. It really does. So I'm sorry, Livy. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, it impacts how you live. Absolutely. I forgot to mention to you guys that there's actually 97,000 centurions in the United States, which
Wow.
was also a very shocking number. And the majority of them, or the highest concentration of them, live in Southern California. And
Wow.
then New
Wow.
York is the next one. There's 59,000 that live in California, and 4,600 that live in New York. So really
Really?
important. Yeah. So there are a lot of people who are making it to the age of 100. We just don't hear about them. That we don't celebrate them. We talk about all of those other things that are really negatively impacting us, rather than having, like, I guess, the good news too. I think it'd be nice if we can have,
Mhm.
if every day on the news segment we can end it with, a minute or two of just good news, right?
Yes,
So we can
Mhm.
leave
yes.
on a positive note. But yes, so that's another thing. And then worldwide, there's 573,000 people over the age of 100, which
Wow.
is really
Wow.
good to know.
Yeah, I would love to interview at least 100 of them if I could. I would love to interview 25 if I could, because when
Yes.
you live a life of longevity
That
in that
long.
respect,
Yeah.
there is a wealth you're like a walking encyclopedia because
Yes.
there's a wealth of information that you can give. And for families who have people that are, that wise, because I hate to say old, you know,
Mhm.
they are truly, truly blessed
Yes.
because the wealth of information that they can get from them, even the things that they've done back in their day and time
Mhm.
to survive, it's totally different from what's out here now,
Yes.
and so treasure it,
Yes.
and share it if you can, because some people may not even have, know their grandmothers, great grandmothers, great grandmothers, but you may have that, and so share it.
Yeah.
Let people have the opportunity to speak with them. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I never even thought it was that many, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
And we have to do some research. I would love to interview a centenarian. So I think you should look for that, Yvonne,
I
somewhere, somehow, because I understand that it's not necessarily genetic that you
right.
live long lives. I think it's like 25 or 30% chance that, it is genetically predisposed.
Hmm.
So it is about each individual. And I would love to get into the minds of some of these people
Hmm.
who have lived that long. I know when I watch the news sometimes and they're celebrating, someone having a 107th birthday, they always say that they have a glass of wine. Like some of these people are alcoholics. They drink like
They
one,
do.
two, three glasses a day of liquor. And they're saying like that is a good thing. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to give up this water and get me a glass of wine or something. But I understand that yes, a lot of those things play a part. And these people are saying that I've always been active and I get out every day and I'm mowing the lawn and I'm taking out the garbage and
Yes.
they got 90, 95, 99 years old and they're slinging garbage cans and stuff. But it's attitude. I
And
again
having
back to
some
the attitude.
responsibility too. It's
Yeah.
being able to maintain the responsibility and a little bit of a routine
Yeah.
versus someone doing everything for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you reference the gentleman that, or some of those folks that were still climbing trees at 95 and 98. It's something that they've been doing all their
Yeah.
lives. So they
Right.
really they never stop. They may
Yeah.
not do it as at the same frequency, but they've continued to do it, which really makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I think
Carmen, yeah, I wanted to say, Carmen, thank you for chiming in with your comments. It's always good to have the audience to, feel free that they can say different things. Yes, this is it's beautiful because it's all about all of us. We're here to help each other grow. We're here to teach and learn from each other. We're here to be a community of people who are, like-minded in a sense of trying to project something positive in the world so that people can have a place to go or someone to listen to or some guidance. You never know. We talk about our purpose. Everybody has a purpose in their life, and you may not know what it is right now, but you can create what it is that you want it to be as well. When I started this podcast, it was something that I wanted to do for a long time and wasn't
Oh
really
yeah.
sure how it was going to pan out. And just by the grace, they say you take a step forward, and then everything else that you need will start coming to you. And started out with just myself, talked to Ish. Next thing you know, I had two other co-hosts, and it's the three of us. And then from there, I have been on a couple of shows. LaShawn invited me to her show, and it's amazing. And so this is it's a positive journey. And anybody that's out there, you can do it as well. You
yeah.
can feel
Agreed.
free to, if you want to be a part of the show, contact us. Let us know. What is it that you have to offer? What is it that you would like to give or share? We're looking for people who are entrepreneurs with services that you have. We talk about that on our show. We reach out. It's all about all of us, not just us.
Yes. That's right.
As we're starting to wind things down, I really want to go back to you for a moment, LaShawn. You talked about a couple of things, the importance of rest, of eating well. You talked about, reducing the wear and tear on your body and really focusing in on positive encounters with others and really good health.
Yes.
So as I think about your particular show called You're Our Unity, I
Mhm.
really want to go back to that and give us the one thing, if you could leave us with one note, what thing would you really encourage us as a community to do on a regular basis?
Self-care. Self-care is so important. So many of us have so many chores and so many things to get through throughout the day. And we have so many other people that we're responsible for that we lose sight of the fact that we need to take time for ourselves as well. I can't tell you how many times I've, spoken with people who don't know what it's like to just have a moment alone, to just be silent with your own thoughts and your own self and your own space. So I think self-care, self-love is so, so important. Pour into you what you so often pour into others. Nurture yourself the way you nurture your children. Love on yourself the way you love on your family and your friends. You can't be anything to anyone else if you're not whole and complete within yourself. So
Wow.
why give out 80% or 70% of you when you can give out 100% if you just took the time to pour into yourself? Renew your spirit every single day. Find those times and those moments that you can actually cheer yourself on and be your own support and be your
Wow.
own cheerleader. Be that person to yourself that you are to others. And I think that if you do that first and foremost, not only will your life be long, but you will help lengthen others as well.
Wow.
Mm.
That is oh my gosh, that is well said and very heartfelt.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
I know
Thank
that
you.
the people who you sit with and talk with, I know they feel blessed that they have you as their coach.
Yes,
You
thank
know,
you.
yes, that is awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. I really do. And I'm going to have you back on, Yvonne, because you were amazing on my show. You really are. And I have to just share this real quick. Yvonne talked about how other people help her. You were a big help in my life. She is such a great support to others. She is so encouraging. She's so helpful. And your spirit, your light is just amazing. I heard so much about you, Olivia, and I also want you on my show too, girl. But she told me so much about what you poured into her, and what you poured into her, you would not believe she was able to pour into me. So I am grateful for that, Yvonne. I really am. I mean, when I felt fear, when I felt I couldn't do it, and I used to come to you with all these grand ideas and things that I wanted to do, and you just gave me the encouragement and the inspiration that I needed in order to keep going. And that's why I feel where I am today. So I thank you so much. And I thank you, Olivia, as well.
Oh,
And
you're
don't you
welcome.
cry, girl.
It's the jug. It's the jug
I'm
that always is always full, right? We can
Yes.
always share and pour to others. So that's really
Yes.
great. How can people reach you, LaShawn? Give us
You
a
can
way to contact you.
yes.
Yes, you can reach me on my website, www.yourrunity.com, or you can follow me on IG and Facebook at Your Our Unity. I am also on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Mhm.
Recording the Your Our Unity show, and it re-airs live every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Long Island Cable, channel 115.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks for
so much.
joining us. Yes,
Thank
thanks
you.
for sharing your love with our audience and with us. And we're
Yes.
going to make sure that we love on ourselves with the same passion that we
That
give to others. That's
yes.
my takeaway for tonight. So thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. As we narrow down, we want to also thank the audience. Carmen, thank you for chiming in. It was another young lady, I didn't catch your name, but please, thank you so much. Share this information maybe next week, the next time. Okay, Lanya, I hope I'm pronouncing it.
Lanya. Hmm.
Lanya, beautiful name. It's very pretty. Thank you again for, chiming in. Maybe one day we can all be on the same show, just talking about different things. It's always good to share and spread love. Well, as
Yes.
we narrow down again, I wish everyone a happy week. For the week is coming. Thank you again, LaShawn, for coming on our show. Um, I'm not even going to say it. You're part of our show anyway.
Aw,
Good to have you.
thank
Um,
you.
last but not least, this is the first part. We're going to talk about longevity. We're going to keep it going because we want everyone to know about it. We want to express the importance of taking care of yourself so that you can have those extended years, learning, proper health, proper care, proper healing in so many different ways so that we can move forward together as a community, as people, in positivity and love. It's just going to play our video for the evening, and we're going to say good night. Thank you so much for chiming in.
You.
Love you, ladies. Thank
Love
you.
you too. Love you as well.